But there's so many really good players, man. It's thinking of week 14, which is coming up. We're going to start with MLK Day. You talk about so many really good players. There's so many really good games coming up this week. So we're going to talk about those next. The first game that I had on my mind in terms of top games coming up in week 14, we're going to start with Monday, which is MLK Day. So shout out to the NBA for doing that, man. They do a really good job there. I know, Christmas Day, they got a slate of games. MLK, every team is playing. So I love that. That's always good to see. Hopefully, he has some special jerseys and uniforms for that day. That'd be really cool to do. First game that I have, and probably the biggest game, which is on Monday night, which is the Eastern Conference #1 team, the Chicago basketball team, aka the Chicago Bulls. They are facing the Western Conference #3 team, the Memphis Grizzlies. This is a 3:30 kickoff Eastern time on TNT. So this will be a national game. I'm going to let you start. I'm going to let you start. Give us your take on this game. Why is it a top matchup? And if you want to pick the winner or your feelings on this game, let that be known.
For sure. So yeah, I mean, you look at the Bulls. They're still first in the Eastern Conference, and everyone is balling. They're a young team, so you knew. And this was my typical expectations. Obviously, like a lot of the Chicago Bulls fans and just people in general in the NBA, they expected them, these guys are great. They're going to be great the entire season. No, that's not how it goes. They're humans, and most of them are younger than 25 years old. So they're still growing up as individuals, and they're learning that you got to be ready to play game in, game out. So I could see this being a great game for the Bulls from their end of things to make a statement game in the NBA.
Is it a must win? Is it a must win for the Bulls?
It's not necessarily a must win, but if they do win it, it's one of those wins that they can rattle off.
Improve.
Yeah, they can rattle off like 6. This could be the beginning of a big streak if they can get a good whooping on the Memphis Grizzlies. And it's like one of those things, like competitors. They're all competitors, and I know they've been seeing Ja Morant this, Ja Morant that. Well, this is their chance. This is Zach LaVine's chance, who I feel the Bulls will probably put on Ja Morant, either him or DeRozan. But this is their chance to show that, hey, Ja, same blood. You ain't no different than us. So I can see that being the Bulls and the things from the Grizzlies aspect. I mean, those guys been on the road. They've been on the road. Obviously, not too far off of a 11-game win streak. Got Ja playing well, and got Bane playing well. Got a really good team overall. But the Grizzlies are playing at home, so they're gonna come out firing. They're gonna come out firing, and so it's gonna be a good game, both ends. I still think the Bulls, if they pull out this win, which that's my pick, I'm gonna make an emotional pick, and they're gonna roll out a few more.
Love it, BG.
I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. For the Bulls, no Levine, no Caruso, no Lonzo Ball, no Javonte Green. The Bulls are going to go on a terrible run right now and lose a bunch of games. They got the Bucks coming up later this week that we're going to talk about. Bulls are hurting. We talked about the Nets dropping. Nets are the second in the East. Bulls are the first in the East. Top 2 teams in the East about to drop a couple spots because until the Bulls get healthy, they are not the same team. I know they got some young cats, some like very young cats, but unless they get Levine back and Lonzo back and Caruso back, which is the heart of their defense. I mean, Lonzo and Caruso were balling at the beginning of the year, getting deflections. It's going to be a tighter game than it should be, but the Grizzlies pull this one out. I think it's going to be a close one, but I'm picking the Grizzlies.
Yeah, I'm rolling with the Grizzlies too, simply because it's a scheduling loss for the Bulls. Right? BG talks about the injuries. It's very tough to overcome that. And to me, every team has a down period in the year. Now, some last longer than others, right? Detroit Pistons haven't been down all year. They haven't had an up moment at all, okay? For the Chicago Bulls, they've been so high flying all season. To me, this last week and this week, these are the weeks where they falter a little bit, simply because injuries, timing, the fact that, other teams are starting to kind of figure out what they like to do, what they can do well. And DeRozan is just not enough to knock off the Memphis Grizzlies, who, again, in their last 10, 11 games, they've won almost every single one of them. So I got to go with Memphis here. Got to go with Memphis at home. And again, the fact that these are TV games, these players know. They know the entire world is watching, right? So whenever you have the entire world watching, players know that. They know it's a TV game. They know it's a big deal. They treat it as such. And I got the Memphis Grizzlies winning this. And I don't think it's going to be close. I actually think they're going to be big. They're going to be big. They're going to be big favors in this game, talking about the Grizzlies. And I think they cover whatever the number is in this matchup. The second matchup we want to talk about, we're going to skip a few days. That was Monday with the Bulls and the Memphis Grizzlies. We're going to fast forward all the way to Thursday coming up, which will be January 20th. And you have the Western Conference #1 seed. You have the Phoenix Suns facing the Western Conference #5 seed, and the #5 seed who are trending upward. I think they're going to be a top 4 seed pretty soon. Talking about the Dallas Mavericks. This is another TNT game. This is a 7:30 p.m. tip-off Eastern time between these two teams. We will start with you, BG, here. Give us your take on this game.
We talked about, you talked about Devin Booker a little bit. We talked about Chris Paul. The Suns are one of those teams that, and the last 3 years, man, since they got Chris Paul, they've been one of the top teams, if not the top team, in the last 3 years, and they don't get talked about enough. But without DeAndre Ayton, without Cam Johnson, with the Mavs getting Porzingis back and Luka getting healthy again, and Jason Kidd, their coach, back, I'm gonna pick the Mavs at home in this one. I think the Mavs are kind of, like you said, they're not where they want to be. And they got to make a little bit of a push before the All-Star break, stay hot. They're a hot team right now. And I think they keep they go get a big win versus the Suns early this week.
Yeah, the injury to Aiden is going to be tough. But it is a day-to-day injury. So at the same time, I feel like even if he is out there, he will make a little bit of an impact for the Suns, who already have great chemistry. And I think Chris Paul, he has done a great job ever since he's touched the ground in Phoenix, making sure that everyone is ready to go. And he's done a great job at being the orchestrator of the offense. So, yes, Mavericks got all their guys back, but I'm looking at the Suns in this one. They got Devin Booker, who's shown in the past, like he's a 50, he could drop 40 points easily, and he hasn't done it yet this season, unofficially. That's unofficial stating, but he could do it anytime. So I definitely have to go with the Suns in this one. It'll be a good game. It'll be a close one, but definitely with the Suns.
So BG, you going with who in this matchup?
The Mavs. I'm taking Luka and the Mavs.
Okay. And then obviously, Zay, you going with the Suns. So I'm really the tiebreaker here. Looking at the stats here, offensive rating, the Suns, they are 6th. The Mavs, they are 18th. Defensive rating, the Suns are the #2 team in the defensive rating in all of the NBA. But the Mavs, they're 4th. And the Mavs been locking down. Like, you think of the Mavs, you think of high scoring, you think of a bunch of points. It ain't like that no more. It's not like that no more. They got low totals. They got low scores. They love to play defense this year. So definitely going to be a defensive matchup. I would easily take the under here. Okay, for any fans listening there. And again, it's not a betting show. I said this on the college football show. I said it on the NFL show. I'm saying it on the NBA show. It's not a betting show, but I know that's of importance for some people out there. All right, they have a little interest in that. But I would definitely take the under here. And since points are at a premium, I would imagine the Suns, unless somebody, major is going to be out. If everyone's playing, I would imagine the Suns are going to be the favorite. And with that being said, I like the home team. I'm with you, BG. Like, TV game, again, I mentioned it. These guys play a little bit different when the world is watching. TV game, Dallas Mavericks are at home. They're a team that can play defense. And when you got a team that can play defense, they'll be at home. It's a national TV game. I got to roll with them. Plus, You know, they got one of the top 10 players in the NBA in all of our lists, which is Luka Doncic. So I'm rolling with the Mavs. I'm rolling with Luka. I'm rolling with Jason Kidd. I'm rolling with that whole squad there, man. I love that matchup. I love that game. I'll definitely be tuned in.
Plus, the Mavs got to make up for what the Cowboys did today. Come on, man.
Yeah, they
got to get one back to the city, man.
That definitely should have been expected with the Cowboys. Those guys never come to play in the playoffs.
They never come through. Yeah, you guys are right about that, man. Maybe Luka can play quarterback for him. I don't know. We'll see. All right, 3 more games to talk about for next week, which is, again, NBA Week 14. This is the third matchup. This will be Friday, January 21st. We have, again, the Chicago Bulls, number 1 in the East, against the number 4 team, who I think very soon will end up being a top 2 team in the East. We're talking about the Milwaukee Bucks. This is an 8 p.m. Eastern tip-off in Milwaukee. Yes. So, BG, let's talk about this game. How do you feel about it?
Bucks big, embarrassing big. I mean, who's gonna stop Giannis?
No one. Number 1 player in my rankings. No one.
You know, the Bucks are playing, so I'm gonna say Bucks big. I'm gonna say Grayson Allen has about 4 or 5 3-pointers. He has a big night. Shout out to my Dookie.
Shout out to Grayson, man.
But you know what? The Bulls are in trouble right now, and I'm not saying that just because, you know, I want to go against the locals and all that. They're in trouble, man. If they're meant to be healthy, if they're not healthy, and some of those guys are, you know, they could be back for that Bucks game, but the Bucks got too much for the Bulls right now.
Yeah, bouncing right off of that, I think, you know, and
come on, Zay, hurry up. Just say, find a reason, find an excuse, find a way to lie to yourself and the people that tell us you're going with the Chicago Bulls.
I'm not going to lie to myself. I'm not going to be over positive right now. The Bulls, they are going to get whooped. I'm pretty sure that's a national TV game as well. So they're going to get whooped. But I still think even if they're healthy, they don't, Giannis is just a baller. You know, even the healthy Bulls team, this would be their kryptonite. The Bucks would be their kryptonite. And the Bucks, they're just, Giannis does it all. They have perfect role players in, Middleton and Grayson Allen. And I just think, they just they are team in the East. They are the best representation for the East. You know, that's the team that I'd be like, if they went back to the NBA Finals, I would say, man, I'm pretty confident they'll probably win it. So I'm going with the Bucks on Thursday. Sorry, Chicago.
Yeah. All right, Steelers making a little game, man. They scored a touchdown. Deontay Johnson, man, from Big Ben. Made it a 21-point game now. So cool. All right. Back to the NBA. Yeah. In this matchup, the Bulls versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Look, anybody that has listened to any of the Coach T shows, people know I'm a contrarian. So I would love, because both of you guys went with the Milwaukee Bucks, I would absolutely love to take the Bulls. I would love to just go against the world right now and take the Bulls. I would love that and just be laughing to the bank next week. I would love that. I really would. But I can't with all the injuries and the fact that Giannis is my number 1 player. This is a home game for the Milwaukee Bucks. We never talk about Chris Middleton. Why ain't he a top 10 player? He a straight bucket.
Yeah.
He a straight bucket. Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis been balling. Right? Grayson Allen, we joke about him, but he been shooting that thing for real. Milwaukee Bucks, they have a legitimate chance of repeating. And if you repeat in the NBA, that puts you to a whole nother stratosphere, another echelon in terms of the history of the game. And with that being said, Bulls, it's a nice story, but with injuries and the fact that I don't know who's going to be there for this game and the fact that it is hosted in Milwaukee, I'm gonna make it a 3-headed monster, man. It's not always good when all my co-hosts take the same team. It's never good. It's never good. But I got faith in Giannis, man, and I got faith in the Bucks. So I'm rolling with you guys, but I'm gonna take the Bucks in this matchup. I think it's gonna be a really good game if you're a Bucks fan. Let's say that. All right, second to last matchup. We're gonna go out to the West Coast. the left coast. We're going to get to the number 3 team in the Western Conference. We have the Memphis Grizzlies, who were, Zay, if I'm not mistaken, were they your second team or second time they were your team of the week for the Western Conference?
No, John Morant was my
John Morant was, okay.
Yeah.
So we got Memphis Grizzlies and John Morant facing my team of the week and my player of the week for last week, the number 6 team in the Western Conference, Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. This game is in Denver. It's a 9 p.m. Eastern tip-off. We'll start with you, Zay. How do you feel about this matchup?
I definitely think this one of them for this is like the revenge tour for the Grizzlies, and they're gonna come in this one high. You know, they just have every single game they come in, you just like, man, these guys could easily win this game by 20. And that's just the season. But I think that continues with this game. You know, Jokic, Steven Adams gonna give Jokic, you know, some issues. You know, Jokic will still probably drop 15, 20, but it's gonna be a
still
hard
get a triple-double, but, you know, he'll give him some issues.
It's gonna be hard-earned. But I just think it's too much star power on the Grizzlies and the things, and they come out with this one.
Yeah, so I think the Grizzlies pull off here. I think they're two pretty evenly matched teams. You got Ja going against Jokic. We talked about Jokic being the most efficient player in the league according to the PER rating. I like the home team in this matchup. I like the Nuggets. I think they're a well-balanced team, and I think they pull off this win, and they kind of cool off the Grizzlies after the Grizzlies go beat the Bulls earlier in the week. So I'm gonna go with the Nuggets here.
BG, I don't know if I like you on the show, man. I may have to replace you, man. You think too much like me, bro. I'm with you, bro. Like, I so wish you would have taken the Memphis Grizzlies. I thought that's what you were gonna take. So hats off to you. I'm all over the home team. And I spoke about it earlier. Like, again, Nikola Jokic. I talked about the Denver Nuggets. Like, I just like what they do, and that's mainly because of the Joker. I'm not going against the Joker here. Like, when he at home, and the elevation is different. It is different. It's a long week. What is this? And this is a Friday game. So again, Memphis is going to play at least 2 or 3 games before they play this matchup, right? And then they got to travel there and, you know, play in the altitude. So. And they got to go against the Joker, man. The Joker. Jokic, who's a Joker. And I don't think they have an answer for him. I don't think anybody in the NBA has an answer for him. So definitely not the Memphis Grizzlies. Name their big man. Who do they have as a starting big man? Big man. Jaren Jackson? I mean, I like him. I like what he can do, but he ain't holding the Joker. Let me tell you that. So I'm going with the Joker here. I'm going with the Nuggets at home. I love them in the altitude. And I just think they're going to get a nice little hot streak. I'm talking over. They may end up being my team of the week again next week. And that's forecasting, foreshadowing, you know, next week. And just the fact that I think they can do a lot of really good things. I like what they do, and I like how they compete, and I like the fact that they have a MVP candidate they can always lean on. So you always have a chance, especially at home, with a player like that. Last matchup, Sunday, which is the last day of week 14. We have the number 4 team in the Western Conference who was never talked about. Never, ever talked about. But we're going to talk about them. You have the Utah Jazz facing the number 2 team in the Western Conference, which is the Golden State Warriors. This is at 8:30 p.m. Eastern tip-off. BG, I will let you start since Zay started the last matchup. BG, go.
So with this game, I went back and forth a little bit here. I'm still kind of going back and forth as I'm looking up some of the stuff. As of right now, you got for the Warriors, I mean, obviously James Wiseman's out, Gary Payton's out, Draymond's out with his calf injury for the next 2 weeks, I think they said. Steph Curry is actually out tomorrow with a slight hand injury. I think he hurt his hand in one of his previous games. He's expected to be back after tomorrow night. But with this game being in Golden State, the Warriors, I mean, they've been one of the best fan bases the last, since they've made their championship runs in the last 8 years. It's hard to beat Golden State at Golden State, but Draymond is such a huge part of that team. We talked about the reasons why Steph isn't isn't in my top 4 players, or he's not above guys like Giannis or guys like LeBron, guys like Durant, is because he doesn't do as much all around, and that's what Draymond does. He does not as high of a level as those 3 guys, but Draymond is your all around guy where he's playmaking, he's rebounding, he's getting assists, he's doing the dirty work. If the Warriors are going to win this game, it's going to be Curry going off, but I'm going to pick the Jazz. I'm going to pick the Jazz coming into Golden State, kind of knocking off Golden State when they're down a little bit and injured. And I'm going to roll with the Jazz on this one. Kind of just a gut feeling. My head and my heart doesn't want to go against Steph Curry at home, but I'm going to go with the Jazz here.
Man, oh man. So I think just to make Coach T think a little bit, because this is one of those games that could go both ways. Obviously, we don't know the extent if Steph is playing through an injury or if it's just a little short nip. So it's
the hardest thing about the NBA, man. It's literally day to day. We picking these games almost a week in advance for this.
Yeah.
One. So it's tough.
It's tough, but I think the Warriors going to come out strong. This is another proven game against a good Jazz team. The 29 and 14. They have consistently a team that can be a Western Conference finalist team for like the past 5 years. So it's a good team, but I think the Warriors with Clay getting back in rhythm and getting back healthy. Obviously, we hope Steph is going to be healthy. Missing Draymond Green, I mean, you still got Andre Iguodala coming off the bench and Otto Porter, who's not a terrible option for the team. He provides consistency with 8 and 5 and 2 assists a game. So it's one of those things that if the role players can step up for the Warriors, they definitely come out with this win.
Yeah, if the Warriors don't have at least, they don't have Steph Curry, they don't have a chance. All right, that goes without saying. But if they don't have Draymond for this matchup, I don't see how they even keep it close, even at home. I really don't. Again, one of the most slept on teams in the Western Conference is the Utah Jazz. Okay. Yeah, they may not do a lot of things when the playoffs come around, but in the regular season, they one of those teams that you just don't want to see, because night in and night out, it don't matter who's suiting up for the Utah Jazz. They're going to play hard. They're going to play defense. They're going to shoot the 3. I think over the last 3 years, they've shot the most amount of 3s per game than any team in the NBA. So they've committed to the 3 ball. So they can match the 3 ball of the Golden State Warriors. All right. So if the Jazz are knocking down shots, and if you got the Jazz as an entire collection of players performing versus just a Steph Curry, or just a Steph Curry plus half of a Klay Thompson, I don't know how much that's going to get you. Even with this game being in Oakland. It's not even Oakland anymore. I think it's in San Francisco's technically, but even being in the Chase Arena, which is the Golden State Warriors arena, I don't think they really have a shot if Draymond's not playing. And that's how critical, that's how important a Draymond Green is. Okay, and I talked about it last show. I'm gonna talk about it this show. The de facto point guard for the Golden State Warriors is Draymond Green. Plus, he turns around and he is their best defender. Okay, besides Giannis and maybe 1 or 2 other guys in the NBA, talking about LeBron James, if that, right? Maybe another guy I'm probably missing, but Draymond's one of the few players in the NBA that can guard 1 through 5. So if he's not there, you're going against the Utah Jazz, who have Gobert, who have Bogdanovich, who have, it goes without saying, Donovan Mitchell, who have Conley. I even like Royce O'Neal. I like what he does. And then they got probably the most slept on 6th man of the year in Jordan Clarkson. Like, they get buckets, they play D, and they're unstoppable again. And they shoot the 3 ball better than anybody else in the NBA over the last few years. So I'm definitely going with the Jazz here. And I just think they're going to make it real tough for the Golden State Warriors. And I don't like how things are trending for the Warriors right now. I really don't. I don't like how things are trending. The Warriors, to me, they're the they're the Western Conference version of the Chicago Bulls right now. It's just you can't expect a lot. It's just a slump right now. It's a downtime for them. You don't know what you're going to get from them. You didn't know what you're going to get last week. They had a down week. This week, I think that continues. Not to say that will last the entire rest of the season, but right now, currently in the NFL, in the NBA, the Golden State Warriors and the Chicago Bulls are just they're in a tough spot right now. So, and I'm sure you guys would agree with that.
Yeah, they are, and that's coming from a Bulls fan.
Golden State's definitely in a better spot than the Bulls, but they gotta get Clay back up to speed. They gotta get Draymond healthy. Draymond's the key. I mean, Steph is the guy, but Draymond is the glue to that team. He really is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, I definitely got to challenge that a little bit. I think the Warriors are in a tougher position only because they play tougher. I still think, the East, they're uprising a little bit with challenges night in and night out.
You hate the East.
The West is just like, that's like SEC football. Those guys, they got it. They got it over there. Yeah. So the Warriors it'll be a real tough stretch for them. Like, the Bulls can afford being the 6, 7, or 8 seed because they could easily come into like a winnable situation in the first round. But the Warriors being the 8 seed, having to play somebody like maybe the Suns, that's not good for them. The 7 seed having to play the Lakers. The 6 seed having to play the Jazz. Like, those are all teams. If you're not healthy, those teams in this season, you could easily put yourself in a bad predicament.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, cool, man. Look, speaking of things we got to do and not wanting to be in a bad predicament, I actually got to go help my father-in-law. He's up mounting our TV right now. So, and I was supposed to be done maybe like 20 minutes ago, but I just love doing this so much with you guys, BG and Zay. You guys have done a wonderful job, a phenomenal job. Great energy, great insight, great research, by the way. I mean, I could tell you guys were good students, man, in school, because you guys did a lot of really good research, and I love to see it. Before we wrap up, as always, any shout outs, anybody want to say hello, anything like that where you want to give out to the people who are listening right now?
Definitely shout out my parents for sure. I know you guys are tuning in. I know my girlfriend and her family are tuning in as well. Appreciate all your support, and all of our Hobart Brickies, all of our Hobart guys out there, and our team GR3 guys. Hey, definitely. Please challenge me when you see me this week. Please challenge me. I want to hear it. Shout out
to you. It's on site. It's on site, as the kids say.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow up kind of with Zay there. I just want to give a shout out to my family. Anyone who knows me, I got a lot of siblings. I got 3 brothers and a sister, and my oldest brother tonight, him and his wife invited us over for a little bit of a fish fry. So I got to see the 2 nieces and my nephew, and as soon as I walk in, Uncle Brandon. So that always warms my heart. So shout out to the family, the nieces, the nephew. Shout out to the guys, the Hobart Bricky guys, the basketball guys. We got a big one on Tuesday. We probably end up being the number 1 team in the state of Indiana, going to, got to go play Chesterton at Chesterton. So we're going to get some work in tomorrow on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and we're going to try to prepare for the top team in the state of Indiana and see what we can go do.
What time is practice tomorrow?
10 to 11:45.
10 to 11:45, man. We're going to get that work in, yeah. And like BG said, man, one of the top teams we're going to play on Tuesday. But if you're a competitor, it's the type of game you want.
Definitely. Never fear men that bleed the same blood. I love that quote. My father told me that when I was young. And like, no, I'm not standing down to nobody. Be ready.
There you have it, man. Couldn't have said it any better, man. So before I close, personally, I definitely want to give a shout out to my family, give a shout out to my mother, my brother, my sisters, my son. Again, is on the intro. So if you listen to the intro, that's my baby boy. Shout out to my in-laws. Shout out to my sister-in-law. Shout out to my Bricky boys. Most importantly, shout out to my wife. Tomorrow, January 17th, is her birthday. So I know she's going to be listening to this. So, baby girl, shout out to you. Ever since I met you years and years and years ago. Met you at that frat party, by the way. You have been the most beautiful person inside and out. And I want to say happy birthday to you. I'm so glad that I actually approached you years ago in college, and now we have a little family, man. So shout out to my beautiful.
We're going to have to get some details on that frat party, Coach.
Okay. I'll give you guys that. A small detail, it was actually a holiday party. So, yeah. Yeah, think of a little Santa's helper dress. Think about that.
Down at good old Bloomington.
Good old Bloomington, man. So Chloe, shout out to you. I love you. Happy birthday. You are the most special person in my life, and you have given me the greatest gift that is our baby boy. So shout out to you. I love you, and happy birthday again. So fans out there, continue to listen, continue to support. Team GR3, we're shouting out to you as well. Got to do that. Bricky Boys, which we have done all show. We're going to shout out to you guys. Shout out to Coach Brown. And shout out again to the people that support. We can continue doing this. We ain't stopping. The train going to be rolling, man. And we only getting better week to week. So continue to show us love. Continue to show us support. And we'll keep bringing you that funk. Peace. Peace. All right, guys. Great job. Man, you guys are getting better and better and better. I got to say that. I'm not just saying that. I actually mean that wholeheartedly. So
appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Fun, man. It's fun for sure, man.
Yeah.
Something to look forward to every week.
Like I said, dude, all week, man. I'm itching my brain, trying to get prepared. I'm looking at stats all week long. I got teams.
I can tell you guys talk about PER, and you guys putting on your glasses, PER and analysis, and that's pretty good. Defensive rating and rebounding rate. I'm like, okay, look at them.
You got